All right, welcome back to Keepin the Comics. So here we're diving into the current X-Men series right now because they are starting a 4-part arc, which is called the Raid of Graymalkin, which has also been labeled the X-Men versus X-Men series. Because right now, there's a team that is led by Cyclops and another team that is led by Rogue, which is called the Uncanny X-Men. And because of some disagreements here on the right thing to do, this pins them against each other in what is kind of a wild start here. So we pick up on where Beast has been captured and is now held at Graymalkin Prison, which is formerly known as the Xavier Institute. Now, this prison is notorious for holding kidnapped mutants before subjecting them to cruel experiments. Now, the head of this prison here is Dr. Karina Ellis, though she prefers to be called the Warden, which sounds like some special kink that she has, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Now, for the sake of this story, President Lopez isn't too important at the moment. Now, what matters here is Karina's plan, and she's going to put Beast on a show trial, which essentially is like a public spectacle with whatever predetermined outcome that she has already to humiliate Beast, making him an example, and then eventually execute him. Now, when we shift over to Scott here, as you can imagine, this dude is pretty upset right now. He's already putting together a plan to storm the prison and get Beast back. Now, meanwhile, Quentin Quire, the Omega level telepath, has been piecing together what happened. So he was on the phone when Beast was kidnapped, and he was skimming the short-term memories of everyone that was around at that time. And by doing this, he reconstructs the scenario and figures out that Beast was captured there in Alaska, and how he lost track of Beast until someone spotted a small aircraft, which according to Quentin, the people believed it belonged to the X-Men. So he scans commercial pilots' memories to reveal that the aircraft followed a flight path leading straight to Westchester, New York, which we know, of course, is where the Graymalkin Prison is. So with them now knowing that Beast is at that prison, Scott says, okay, it's time that they break it. Which is when Psylocke is like, hold on, you mean break in? And then Scott's like, listen, I said what I said. And he tells Quentin to copy and paste the battle plan out of his mind and into the common knowledge pool, then to get ready the Hellions protocol. Now, we do not get a direct definition here as to what that means just yet, but as the issue progresses, we'll see exactly, or at least we'll get an idea as to what that is. Now, Psylocke does try to reason with Scott, warning him that, listen, acting out of anger could lead to some mistakes here, but Scott is just not having it. And he reminds her that, listen, Hank McCoy, Beast, is like a brother to him. They grew up together. Hank became a monster and Scott lost him once, but now that Beast is back, he is not going to lose him again. And he fully admits, he's like, yes, I am angry. Now, back at the Graymalkin Prison here, we do see Jubilee and Calico right now. Now, Calico is a newer mutant that we've been introduced to here from the Uncanny X-Men series. And while she was attending school, that's where she got kidnapped and then brought over here to the Graymalkin Prison. And Jubilee, while she was out with Nightcrawler out in Louisiana, that was when she got kidnapped and brought here to Graymalkin Prison. So Karina Ellis, right, she arrives in the cafeteria where they are right now to stir up some trouble. Now, Beast had found his way over to where Jubilee and Calico were, and she approaches Beast and the others, announcing that Beast will be leaving soon, but not on good terms. She says it will be a black bag extradition, followed by a show trial and a quick execution, and how she's never claimed to be Santa Claus after all. Then Karina decides to mess with Calico. She mentions that Calico's wealthy, politically connected family contacted her, insisting Calico isn't a mutant. How her family's making a sizable donation to Graymalkin, and all Calico has to do is sign an affidavit declaring she's not a mutant, not like the rest of the gene trash here. Now, Calico, she does stand her ground, but because Calico actually just recently accepted that she was a mutant because her family, primarily her mom, made sure to have her believe that she was not a mutant from a very young age. Now, she keeps eating the prison's so-called mutant food, proudly stating, "My name's Calico of the Louisiana X-Men, aka the Uncanny X-Men, and I am a mutant." Now, of course, This upsets Karina, and she calls a guard over, accusing the mutant of raising a hand when she was just called, or all the mutants were just called to put their hands on the tables. Now the guard moves in to beat Calico, but then Beast, being the gentleman that he is, he steps in, blocking the guard to protect her. But this does not end well for this dude, so he gets clubbed right in the face. And true to nature, Beast makes some witty comment here and then says, "Is that all you got? If you must strike an X-Man, why not a fully grown one? Alaskan, Louisianan, I do believe we all look alike to you." So then Karina sees this as an opportunity once again now to make an example. So she orders the guard to kill the next mutant who moves, and then says to give Beast what he wants. So then Beast, man, they turn on this dude and they start brutally beating this dude. And you can see the blood spattering as like Calico and Jubilee are just watching in this horrified state. Now, while that is going on, right at that moment, Captain Ezra, one of Karina's men, shouts out that they are under attack and how someone has teleported a warship inside the prison's perimeter and how the X-Men have arrived. Now, meanwhile, Magic is working on enacting what I believe is the Hellions protocol that Scott was talking about. And she just wants clarification on the murder perimeters. And Scott is being explicit. He's like, listen, we kill no one, but hurt them bad, punish them, but no killing. Now, at the same time, Captain Ezra here and this guy, they're starting to realize some rumbling that's going on underground. And then we discovered that Magic had summoned some friends here from Limbo. And to me, this is most likely what the Hellions protocol was that Scott was talking about. Listen, I could be wrong. You let me know in the comments. So Karina, realizing that it's the X-Men attacking, she heads over to the control center, and then she barks out orders to get Trask on comms, wanting him to send over his wolf pack of Sentinels. Now, this is not Bolivar Trask that she's talking about here. She's talking about his son, Larry Trask, who we've seen in another X-Men related series here called The Sentinels. So then when Karina's walking off here, a guard asks her the question, the one that was beating up on Beast. He was like, yo, should we go ahead and put the mutants back in their cells before joining Karina? She snapped. She's like, did I tell you to stop beating that mutie? And I'm like, yo, the savagery of this woman. Now, inside the prison, we see part of Cyclops' team here. We have Temper, there is Cyclops, and then there's Cyclops that are infiltrating inside. Now, Quentin Quire, he's maintaining psychic comms, navigation, and then also aerial support, while Magic's demons are creating a massive distraction here on the outside. And Juggernaut, yo, this is funny because you just see Juggernaut here. He's like stretching his quads because apparently he's supposed to be ready for his charge attack or his running attack, whatever they call it. They called it his attack run. My bad, y'all. Now, the advantage here that the X-Men team has is that the cameras are currently jammed, right? And Karina's people can't track the X-Men's movements. But the thing is that there were some guards that were already there right in front of the team. One of the men, they bark on some orders, light them up, but then Cyclops is just like, listen, I can provide my own light, and then he blasts them. And they go down quickly, while Temper and Psylocke, they finish off the rest of the men that came behind him. Now, once they're neutralized here, Cyclops tells Psylocke to get a tactical overview from one of their minds. And when Psylocke does so, she realizes that the situation is even worse than they thought, that this place is a house of horrors, where mutants are taken and turned into what they call trustees. And then when she says that, we see Blob burst through one of the walls. And then Cyclops, he tries to reason with him. He's like, listen, Fred, Blob, I do not want to hurt you. And then Blob is just like, bro, you can't hurt me. So Cyclops blasts him a little bit here, and it literally does nothing to this dude. So then Magic is like, I can hurt you though. But before she can act, a hand reaches out and touches Blob. And then this dude just suddenly collapses. And when we turn to look who it is, it's Rogue. And then behind her, we see the rest of the Uncanny X-Men. And then Rogue, she's snarky with this comment. She's like, oh, y'all finally decided to quit dragging your feet and come out dancing? And then right away, you go ahead and step on our toes. And listen, Rogue has a point because a few issues back, she told Cyclops that they needed to come to Graymalkin Prison after learning that Professor X and other mutants were being held captive there. And then Cyclops, he wanted to wait. Now, in fairness, he wanted to wait for some better strategy, but now with Beast being captured, he's like, all right, now I'm going to act on it. But we'll see whether or not it's too late, and we'll see what type of confrontation these two teams are about to have. Now listen, as an arc here, this is a pretty decent start. Now, we have some internal conflict going on between these two X-Men teams, but at the same time, we have the urgency here of needing to shut down the Graymalkin Prison and then also being able to retrieve all the mutants that are out of there at the same time. The only criticism I have about this whole thing is that this whole like human hates mutants thing, it's a storyline that's getting a bit tired, right? And hopefully at some point they evolve beyond this sort of like overused trope. But listen, what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Leave a like here on this video because it does help out us here with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and be sure to check out our links that are down below in the description here where you can follow us on social media and also join our Discord community. And as always, thank you so much for kicking it with Keepin' It Comic. Bye.